Hi ladies, how are you? And happy Friday. Hi, this is Sheree Richardson, sales strategist and marketing muse for introverted female online business owners. And I asked a question earlier this week about networking because one thing I've always realized is that it's great to get business off Facebook, but you can also get business offline. So that's what made me think about writing a blog. Actually, I wrote this blog last year, net 5 ways that introverts can network and rule it. I don't know the title specifically, but basically it was talking about 5 tips that introverts can use for networking because it does involve being around people and it does involve sometimes small talk and things like that. So I wrote this blog simply because for me, obviously being an introvert, in business school, we had to do this. It was called reception. And so we had to go, we were assigned different receptions to go and host VPs and executives that visited our school. And we were graded upon how well we interacted with the guest. And did we stand in the back? Did we just go straight for the food? Because let's face it, we're college students and food is where, we're going to go first. So we were graded on how to act professionally. And it really, really helped me throughout my career and going out to different networking functions that I still go to today. So I posed that question to see whether or not this was something that you all would like to learn more about and learn from these tips, and the answer was yes. And so that's why I'm focusing today's Friday Q&A on networking for introverted business owners. And so the first tip is pretty obvious, show up. Because so many times, hey, I can't see who it is who's joining me. Hey, Lisa, show up, because a lot of times you'll find that you'll talk yourself out of it. You'll get a strange cough like an hour before and you'll not want to go. You'll say, oh, this is really serious. I got to take care of this. And it's all of a sudden everything else seems really important. But no, you must show up and actually commit to yourself that you're going to do this. Okay. And you can say whether you'll go to whether you go to 3 events a month or 2 events or even 1 event a month, but just stretching yourself and expanding your network and meeting other people. So I always say, just show up and ignore that voice in your mind that tells you don't go. Ignore that uncomfortable feeling that says stay home. I know it's easy to stay home and get on your slipper socks and some tea and watch a movie, but you can do that afterwards, okay? So commit to going. The other thing I want you to do is to research. Research the company that's sponsoring it. See who is giving this event. Who else will be there? Because that's really going to help you prepare. And if you're like me, I like to be in control. I like to know the lay of the land. Who's going to be there? Who can I target? Who can I talk to? And how can we possibly work together? So it really helps me get an idea and form a plan in my head of how I can actually go and get the best out of this event. So that's why I say research, and it really makes me feel more in control. It's kind of a mind thing for me to go and feel as if I know what's going on and I know what to expect, so I'm not caught by surprise. And so, one other thing I know that for my third tip, which is something that I know a lot of people, introverted and extroverted, hate, and that is idle small talk, that dreaded small talk conversation that you get into when you're in the corner and you just get around the wrong person and they just want to kind of drone on and on and on. And so what I do to avoid this is just keep 5 or so talking points in my head. Let's say if the event is being held like in an old warehouse, what did it used to be? That's a conversation starter. Where was this, this building at? Or did they do some renovation, something like that? Or the company, the company's coming out with a different product or service or something like that. But just kind of have 5 things around the event, the sponsors, maybe, talk about something that's happening in pop culture, something that's happening in current events. But just try to keep several things in your mind that are going on, that you won't be stuck in that situation where you can have something to add or something to use to initiate conversation, because I know that can be a huge thing, and it sucks. I hate small talk. I hate it on Messenger. I hate it in person. So it's always great to have great questions in your mind. I would say some questions, maybe 3 to 5 questions in your mind, and also maybe 3 to 5 little tips or something, or not maybe tips, but just 3 to 5 different events or something that's going on right now. Obviously, the inauguration is going on. We have a new president. We have things happening. We have a new year and business things like that. So just try to think of something that you can easily talk about and something that you feel comfortable initiating a conversation about. And that way you kind of feel more in control, because control is my thing. But you feel more in control of the conversation if you're the one starting it, and then you can kind of navigate it that way. And one thing else I do, hey, to who's joining, is have an extroverted friend come with you. Hey, Samira. This is something that I say because I like to go places with my sister or my husband. Actually, both of my sisters mainly, but my older one is the more extroverted one, and she'll start a conversation with the wall. I mean, she'll talk to anybody and she'll talk to anything about anything. So she's the one who I go with, and sometimes, if we're together somewhere, she starts the conversation, and then I'm able to just kind of interject and give my endpoint. I can make some impactful statements. I can add some things. But she's the one who is kind of like I use as my introductor, the one who introduces me to people. And she gets up and she'll start the conversation, and then I come in and we're able to really do it. And she gets me over that awkward initial conversation starter phase. And then she's always asking great questions. And if it's not her, it's my husband. He's a public extrovert and a private introvert. So when we're out in public, he is keeping the conversation going. He's popping off, and I'm able to come in and add to it from there. And so I like to have someone who has the gift of gab go with me, if possible, to kind of help warm things up for me. Also, set a time for departure. Okay, so you're there, you researched it, you have your extroverted buddy with you, but even if you're alone, you can still do this. But it's good to give yourself an out clause. Like, okay, I'll give myself 90 minutes. I'll make sure I meet at least 5 people. And I want to at least acknowledge the ones who are giving this event. I want to acknowledge the important people, and I always say acknowledge the important people first, because they're the ones who either giving the event, or they're the ones who can definitely help or impact you, someone that you can partner with, or someone that you need to introduce you to someone else or whatever. But kind of come with a plan to say, I'll give this 90 minutes to do these things. And it really helps you as you're there, because you have a plan in your mind, and you can say, okay, I've done this, I've done that, I've done this, and 90 minutes come by. Okay, now I feel good, mission accomplished, I can leave. And a lot of times you'll find that what I found is that when I go, I'm having a good time, I've had great conversations. I'll look up and it's been 2 hours or sometimes 2.5 hours. But just knowing in your mind that you have a set time, that you're going to be there and you're going to mingle, give yourself a challenge. Maybe you start a conversation, maybe you ask the question or something like that, but make yourself feel like you accomplished something when you're gone. And finally, this is very, very important, and I say the most important, is after you met people and you've made those connections and you've had those conversations and you talked about possibly working together or whatever you talked about, follow up with those people. And so everyone has their business cards. And so if you don't have business cards, you obviously want to go out and get some. And you can go to Staples, you can go to Vistaprint, and you get great cards that you can pass out. It doesn't matter what you do. It's always good to have something to give to people if you're looking in your local network. But right on the back of the card, something that you talked about, the name of the person, the name of the person is already on the card, but what you talked about, something that can kind of bring to mind what you guys, your conversation, 3 little points about them and what you talked about. So when you do follow up, you can say, hey, I love talking to you about such and such, and I love how you talked about this or that. But it makes it more personal, and it also helps them remember you, like, oh yeah, we did talk about that. And so it's really, really helpful for that, to do like 24 hours after you've met the person, to just do a follow-up email or a phone call. And it really just depends on the kind of interaction you had. And so just making sure you do that and make it personal, and just say, hey, let's go get some coffee sometime, or let's go do lunch or something like that. But you want to extend it if this is someone that you really want to connect with. And so that's a great way to do that, and just build your network. So once a week, once a month, twice a month, 3 times a month, whichever way you choose. I just think it's really important, because Facebook is great, Twitter, Instagram are great, but it's also an opportunity for you to branch outside of that and actually meet people and get out in your own network. Now, for me, I live around Research Park Triangle, so Research Triangle Park. So for me, I have big companies, Fortune 500 companies right here. So for me, it's beneficial for me to do that because it's in my business plan to want to do corporate workshops. So I want to be able to have those kind of connections there to come into companies and talk to their women, their introverted women, their professional women, and talk with them as well and do workshops. So if your business plan involves that and it makes sense for you, I definitely suggest you use these 5 topics and make sure that you're being consistent with that and just give yourself practice. You know, if you just want to go to one a month, just do that. But I hope this helped you all, and I hope that you are able to go and do that. For those of you who responded to the email or to my thread and said that you have not networked or have not attended networking events, hopefully this will help you branch out and kind of step out of your shell and do attend, because I really believe it will help you as well as feel comfortable talking to people. You'll feel comfortable in yourself, and you'll begin to grow confidence in you, you know, because you're doing something that you really didn't think that you could do. And so, hey, so does anyone have any questions? I'll give you a second because I've been doing a lot of talking. So it's been a long week. Okay. All right, ladies. Well, if you don't have any questions, I'm here every Friday at 5. So during the week, if you have any questions, just let me know and I'll talk about that Friday at 5. This is a time for you to ask any questions to, it can be anything, sales, obviously sales and marketing related, and anything about, you know, growing your business, stepping outside your comfort zone, anything like that. Just post a question and I will definitely answer that Friday at 5. And so if there is no other questions, ladies, thank you for joining. For those who are here, for Lisa and Samira, and for those who are watching the replay, thank you so much for joining. And tomorrow is Self-Care Saturday, so definitely take care of yourself. It's hard to take care of everybody else if you're not taking care of yourself. So have a good night. Enjoy your Friday night. Oh, you're welcome, Samira. And thank you.